Hey there, how are you? Welcome back to another episode of Breaking It Down with Boston. And you know what? Today I have entitled you as my future all-stars. No, you catch that? You catch that? All-star, all-star, Boston family all-star. That's what we're doing. So you are a future investor, future all-star, and I want to welcome you to this episode. Again, I'm your host, Cleone Boston, your second favorite Boston. And today my goal is to, cut through a lot of the jargon when it comes to investing. We have spoken from the time this podcast started about faith and finances. And today I really want to just get a nitty-gritty for you to get you started, because I've met so many people over the holidays, especially, that came up to me and said, man, investing is for somebody else. That's for the people who have all the money. And I kept thinking about, how do I get through to you on that topic? So I have someone already lined up to come right after me, not today, on the next episode that helped me to get started. And I think he's going to be a great help. But I want to make it as clear as possible, simple as possible, with some of the things I want to discuss. Number one, investing is for you. In case you're looking around and wondering who I'm talking to, look in the mirror. I'm talking to you. You. Investing is for you. And then let me tell you the next thing. I don't have all the money. Guess what? You drink coffee, $5 a day. Maybe 7 if you add a croissant to it. Nah, 10 if you add a croissant to it. Then guess what? You can invest. You can invest. So I want to share with you some basic tips that I'm going to give you today. Today won't be long, but basic tips that you can use. Number one, you want to be able to open an account with the objective that you can buy a partial share. And you have some really reputable businesses. And let me put it out there now. Every company that I mentioned are companies that I researched, some of them that I use personally, and you do your own research before opening any accounts. But I am not affiliated with them in any way. But I know that we have some good companies there, and I want you to research them for yourself. Fidelity allows you to invest in partial shares. Charles Schwab allows you to invest in partial shares. I think theirs is just those stocks that are certain stocks in the S&P. You have M1 Finance, which I actually have one of those accounts as well, that allows you to invest in partial shares. You have SoFi that allows you to invest in partial shares. And then you have Stash. I know one of my coworkers have used that. You have Stash, and I think theirs is $5. I know for sure that Charles Schwab is at least $5. I think Fidelity is the same. M1, you can create a pie, which means that you can list Amazon, Apple, Google, all those stocks. And you could say, you know what, every pay period, I'm going to put $100. And then you divide the percentage. You said, I'm going to put 10% in this one, 5% in this one. I'm going to put 50% in this one, and 10% in this one. And as long as that percentage adds up to 100, which is 100%, they're going to divide up the money. So if you had 10% in each one, and you had 10 stocks, they can put $10 in each one. If you had 50% in one and 10% in the other 4, they're going to put $50 in one and $10 in the other 4. The other 5, that's your $100. So number one, the idea that you cannot invest, throw it out the window right now. Let's go, open the window, throw it out, throw it out. You are an investor, and you start there. So I want each of you to research these companies: Stash, M1 Finance, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and there are probably some others out there, but research them. Another thing that's really, really, really important, and I'll get to the adults in a minute, is our children. We talk a lot about generational wealth. How do you create generational wealth? You know, we might say, I'm 52, and my chances of building it from me alone go backwards might be slim. But if we start with a younger generation and show them, boom, game changer, game changer. You have children under the age of 18 that have little jobs. It could be for your company, it could be for another company, as long as it's a legit job. Do you know you can pay, this child can earn a salary from a legit job, whether they're cleaning the yards in the neighborhood, and they can, but I'll tell you, Uncle Sam is an equal opportunity person, an equal opportunity relative, you know, Uncle Sam. So when I say that, you want to keep the paperwork and everything legit. If your child has a job mowing the lawns in the neighborhood, you write on the date that they mowed the lawn, whose lawn they mowed, how much were they paid, and you keep that. Those information, you have the person sign off on it that, yes, this child did this. And guess what? They have earnings. And guess what you can do with those earnings? You can open an investment account. And the earnings, the reason why I mention earnings, because you can give your child money. But the reason why I mention earning money that they earn is because the money that they earn, you now have an opportunity to open a Roth IRA for your child. Like, Cleon, what's a Roth IRA? It's a retirement account, but it's a tax-free when you take it out at the right time retirement account. So you don't pay taxes. It's after you put that money in. When you start a Roth IRA, depending on your age, you can typically take it out at the age of 59 and a half. And every dime that's in that account, when you have reached the age of maturity, you're able to take out, and it's tax-free. There's no taxes on it. A regular 401k or regular investment account, when you sell a stock and you take that money out, you pay taxes on your earnings. So because the Roth is tax-free, the IRS limits the amount of money that you're allowed to put in. Every year, I think this year it's like $6,000, I believe. But when it grows, if that grows to $1 million by the time you're 59 and a half, it's tax-free money. So picture your child. Picture your child who's 10 years old and mowing the lawns in this neighborhood and earning money, and you can put it in a Roth. Think about that for a minute. They're 10. They can't touch it until 59 and a half. And when they do, it's tax-free money. Think about that. Think about that. Think about a 529. These are different plans that you can invest for your children. A 529 is a college investment plan. And they can invest, you can invest this for this child from the time they're small, the time they're born. You create this account, say, this is for my child when they go to college. And you buy them Apple, and you buy them Amazon, and you buy them some ETFs, you know. And then when they get to college, it's tax-free. As long as they're taking it out to pay for their schooling, they don't pay taxes on it. They get birthday money. They get Christmas money. They get money for everything. People just love giving children money. And you know what? It's not going to be such a bad idea when you get them involved. Think about you telling a child, you now own Apple. You see that iPad? You own that. I don't know one child who don't have an iPad. Actually, I don't even know one child who don't have an iPhone. But what about if they know they have some ownership in the company that creates it? And that's what stocks are. You own shares in the company. You're a manager. You own the company. A piece of it. I don't want to get too excited. Just a piece. but a 529. So you created it for your son, and then your son got a basketball scholarship to school. Guess what? You can pass it on to your daughter. You can pass it on to your next child. You know, I can remember when we had a meeting that Coach Staley had set up for the parents of these children when NIL came into existence. And one of the persons that spoke said that every rich family, all these wealthy people, they have certain things in common. They have several savings accounts. They each have investments accounts. And then he called it 529. And I said, well, my children are grown, so that wouldn't be useful right now. And he said, no, they're transferable. You can take it from one sibling to the next. And I was looking it up today, and you could actually, depending on where it is, it can go to one cousin, first cousins and all. So there is no excuse if we start from then. And then you can open a regular investment account for a child. They'll pay taxes on the earnings, but whenever they, whatever they earn when they take it out. But this is where, if they don't have a job, where you could put it in a Roth, but they get birthday money and Christmas money and gift money, put it in a regular investment account. If you don't want to start a college one, put it in a regular investment account and get them to say, what do you want to buy next? What do you want to get this time? Man, they're going to be looking for people to give them their gift money, because all they're thinking about is the stocks they want to buy next. I can remember my girlfriend, Roadblocks came out, and her daughter was so excited when she told her about investing, because her daughter was making a list of the things that she played with and liked, and they actually made it a project. Every weekend, they took an hour to research whether the toys she played with were publicly traded companies. I kid you not, the child was 7. Did she fully understand what public traded company meant? No. But she understood that if she could buy stock in it, it meant something to her. And that's what they were doing. So when you include them, you have no reason. So we have things to start the process of generational wealth for our children. And I want you guys to be excited. I want everybody, when they look at this video, to tell me, I've started my account. You don't even have to tell me where, but I have started my account. If you have questions, message me. I promise I will answer you. And for you now, for you, we planted the seeds. Our children are investors, and we need to be the example. We got to lead by example. Number one, if you're working and your employer offers a retirement plan, match it. Match it. Do you know how many employers offers 401k retirement plan, and we look at our check and say, I can't afford to take nothing more to my check? When you retire, who's taking care of you? Who's taking care of you? We have to think proactive. Put something in place. And a lot of times, you can put in 2%, 3%, and then there's a little caveat. The employer says, if you put in 6%, I match it. Why would you put in 2% and 3% then? Put in the 6. What you're getting now is free money. They're matching it. They're matching it. I remember this past year when we went to, after the draft, they had meetings with the WNBA and the parents meeting. And in that meeting, they talked about the fact that the WNBA offers a 401k plan. And I remember my husband saying, is there a match? And the lady said, yeah, 25%. I went to Aaliyah and I said, let me tell you something. When you get your information for that 401k plan, just put there 100. You're maxing it out. Those were the words to her. You know what she said to me? I don't really know what that means, but okay. I kid you not. She said, I don't really know what that means, but okay. I was so proud of my child. Not that she didn't know what it meant, but she said, okay. And she did exactly that. So I was so happy every time I saw her paycheck. Yes, I saw her paycheck every single time. And I'm saying, Aaliyah, look, you put out this amount of money out of your check, because she's like, Mom, where all of that went? I said, well, you maxed it out, so a little chunk is coming out. But look at the part where it says company match. I said, that's free money that you was not going to get had you not put that money in. So don't think about, I put that in, my check is short, I don't have this to live off of. Live off of the rest. Live off of the rest. We have to make sacrifices if we want what we want. If we want to be lenders and not borrowers like God says we are, then we have to make the decisions that matches up with what he's saying so we can get it. Because you know what? Those words aren't for a chosen few. They're for you and they're for me. They're not for a chosen few. So we make the sacrifices that we want, and I've called this word already, delayed gratification. You do what people don't so you can have what people can't. Plain and simple. You want it now or you want it better later. Plain and simple. So she did the match. So that's the first thing. If your employer is offering you a 401k contribution, find out. If you've been there 5 years and you've never asked, you've never done it, it didn't even enter your mind, go back and ask them. They're gonna say, man, what got into her now? All of a sudden she wanna know about 401k. Say, it's okay, a new year. Don't matter what I didn't have then, it's what I'm gonna do going forward. It's what I'm gonna do going forward. So if your employer offers a 401k, and especially if they're offering a match, take it. Take it. Then you can open your investment account. If they don't have one and you're working, you can open a Roth. Because that's with pre-tax dollars. That's at the age of 59 and a half, you don't pay taxes on it. And in our next segment, we're gonna I'm not gonna give you investing advice, but I'm gonna name some companies that I have invested in, and I'm gonna name some so that you can do some research and give you some parameters as to what I use as guidelines so that you could say, hey, if a company has this might be a good place to start. This might be a good place to put some money. So if they don't have one and you want to open one, then you open a Roth IRA and you keep that match. You know, you do whatever you got to do. You set a budget based on your home expenses and your commitments, and then you invest, and you invest regularly. I know people, they'll put $50 in their investment today, and then 3 months from now, they'll say, oh boy, I got out of account. Let me put some money in it. No, it has to be as regular as going to the grocery store. If you go to the grocery store every 2 weeks, or you put gas in your car every 2 weeks, because we might go grocery store every week, depending on how much our children eat. But you go put gas in your car every 2 weeks, then invest. If it's $10, put 10. If it's $5, put 5. Do not despise humble beginnings. Do not. You don't have to look at anybody else's account. When you say, oh, I have my account at Fidelity, I'm investing, they don't have to know how much is in it. They don't have to know you put $5 in it. But you might put $5 today, and at the end of the year, that $5 might be 50. It might be 100. But that's extra money that you didn't have. And you know what it's going to do from there? Keep growing and growing and growing. You can call yourself an investor if you put $5 in or you put 5,000 in. Don't despise humble beginnings. So let's recap. You got Fidelity. You got Charles Schwab. You have M1 Finance. You have Stash. You have SoFi. All of them give you partial investments. Allow partial investments. If your child under the age of 18 gets a job, you can open a Roth that they can't touch till 59 and a half. And you know what? Emergencies happen. You open a Roth account and you're setting this money up and something happens and you don't have all the money you need, Do you know, as much as you cannot touch a Roth to pull your investments out without penalty until you're 59 and a half, you can pull out what you originally invested without any penalties? You end up putting $1,000 in a stock. It's now worth $5,000, but you need $1,000 for something. You can go back and pull out your $1,000 that you put in without any penalty. And because you didn't touch your profits, you're not penalized. You can leave that steady and grow until it reaches the maturity date of 59 and a half. So there are things in place, but we just got to take the first step and start. We just got to take are my accounts rolling over, running over? Not yet, but I'm speaking it as it is. That's what the Bible says. Speak those things that are not as if they are. So yes, they are. But until I see it with my eyes, like I've seen it in my mind and I've confessed it with my mouth, even though it hasn't reached that level yet, guess what? I have no regrets. You know why? I have more than I would have had, because I guarantee you, I wouldn't have saved that money in a bank. Right now, after I pay every bill I have, if I'm left with $20, I'm putting that $20 in an investment. And I think I mentioned this already. I have a adopted grandson, so to speak. He's 3 now. And he has an account. It has like $400, 400 and something dollars in it. The last investment I did for him, it was a $20 share of Amazon. And that was the second installment of $20. So now he has like $40 worth of Amazon. Falia, for her birthday, I got a Chipotle. That stock is $2,300. I bought her $200. And for Christmas, I did the same thing. For Alexis, I got her Tesla. Let me tell you something. You are in the right place at the right time to get started. I don't know what else to say. We got to get going. We've set a goal. I'm so excited to see all your comments because we got to do it. We got to do it. You're going to learn how to diversify your portfolio. In your portfolio are your stocks that you own, your companies that you own. We're going to talk about that. But for today, I just wanted to get you excited about the idea of going online, logging in, and opening up your account. And if you could fund it with as little as $5, fund it. That's it. Fund it. Think about it. $5, the cup of coffee that it will cost you. You can open an investment account. And you can call yourself an investor. Think about it. Think about it. I am an investor. Say it with me. I didn't hear you. Say it a little louder. I am an investor. You over here. Let me hear it. I am an investor. You over here. Let me hear it. I am an investor. Great job. You're now an investor. It is that simple. It really is. Get on your computers, open up, type it in, fill it out. You're an investor. Don't look back. Look forward. God has great things for us in 2024, but we can't make the same type of decisions that kept us where we were in 2023. That's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We got to do something different. We got to set our kids up for different. Get them involved for different. Get them setting goals. We have so much things to talk about. But I don't want to overwhelm you today. This was the extent of what I wanted to tell you. Get started. I gave you some options. Fidelity, Charles Schwab, M1, Stash, SoFi. Find one. Find one. Open it up. Transfer in $5 if that's all you have. Review your budget and say, you know what? Every pay period, I can afford $20. Every pay period, I can afford $5. Every pay period, I can afford $10. We all have at different places in our lives. We are different places in our budget. But none of us are someplace where we can't make changes and move forward. None of us. With God, all things are possible. We make the decision. We make the decision. And when you make a decision in your mind, guess what? It has no choice but to get it done. No choice but to get it done. We've learned about 529s, where you can open a college plan for a child. We learned that if our children have a job, we can open a Roth IRA, where they pay no taxes after holding an account for years. Aliyah is 22, Alexis is 24. They each have a Roth that they are not going to touch till 59 and a half. Think about it. What that could look like if they did not put another dime in this today, from today. If they don't ever put another dime, what that could be like in 30 years. And I have a calculator that I'm going to show you guys on the next one. And we're going to punch in different figures, and you're going to see how time compounds, how it changes, how it grows. Get excited. Do not watch that next one if you haven't opened that account, because we're building on this now. You got your blessings to start 2024. If you didn't look at that one, go back and find him. Find Pastor Carl in our conversation. Go back to the beginning. Listen to Alexis and Aliyah talk about when I took their money from college and started their investment plan. We're moving forward together, and I am so thankful that you chose to be a part of this community. And we're going to do great things together. With God's help, with us encouraging one another, we're going to do great things. So we're no longer going to be talking about topics that you're not familiar. You're going to be familiar. So with that, I want you to go back and listen to this again, a second and a third time. If you have any questions, just message me. I promise you I'll respond. And then we will build on this going forward until you have that down pat. I'm not about to leave you fall. We started this journey together. We're going to continue together. So I thank you for taking the time to listen. I encourage you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I encourage you to share it with your family, your friends, your loved ones. I encourage you to like the video and leave a comment. Tell me, I'm an investor. Remember, we talked about prosumer power. Find it if you haven't listened to it. This is all part of being a prosumer. You're building, you're a prosumer, and now you're an investor. I love you. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you on another episode of Breaking It Down with Boston. Until then, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.